Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Olympic stream. Always so much to talk about. I feel like track and field is probably one of the big topics.
Yeah.
Sounds like it will be. That's the first one we're talking about. It's a
First
major
week
upset.
was all gymnastics. The second week's all going to be.
And there's more to come, too.
A lot more to come.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a major upset in the men's 1,500 meter race, something we did not expect.
Yeah, this was pretty sweet here. Long distance runner Cole Hawker defeating two champions, two favorites here for this race, Norwegian Jakob Ingebrigtsen and Great Britain's Josh Kerr for the gold.
And Kerr took home silver while another American rounded out the podium. It was just an amazing performance. And then you saw Cole, who in the last part of that race kind of went back and then charged forward. We also saw Yared Nuguse. He won the bronze. Again, two Americans that we did not expect to podium. Ingebrigtsen has just been tough to beat, but it was an amazing race to see.
Yeah, long distance running is weird. You watch it in the Olympics, and they kind of just all jog together, and it's all strategy, like who's going to go out too early and who's going to wait and who's got the kick. And so I think sometimes you get somebody who just takes a chance and goes out and can catch the other people off guard. They don't go out. Saw that in cycling too, with the American kind of coming out of nowhere and just going ahead, and all the other competitors were like, well, guess we're not going to catch them.
Yeah.
Yeah, he set an Olympic record to go along with it. So it was funny. Ingebrigtsen was leading that race for at least 3 laps. And then, like I said, in that 4th final lap, he was gassed.
Yeah.
So the other two Americans.
That's the problem with being out front. Sometimes you don't want to be out front because you use it all up. I mean,
for sure.
I feel like there was some drama too. I mean, I don't want to lay it on thick, but like with Ingebrigtsen and Kerr, and I think before they were just kind of chipping at each other.
Yeah.
And who's going to win this race, and then neither of them.
Running can be a contact sport when you're in those groups like that, especially if you're on the rail and you're trying to get outside and you're kind of stuck. You'll see elbows and people not trying to trip each other, so it can be pretty rough in there.
More track to talk about, track and field. World record holder Sydney McLaughlin-Leroney cruising, and we say cruising, we mean cruising. Through the 400-meter hurdle semifinal. She ran the race in 52.13 seconds. That is the fastest semifinal time in Olympic history, and she will hit the track again Thursday.
Yeah, she was flying, as you said, so it's going to be an interesting final once we get to that point. But there are some fast hurdlers out there.
You watch the video, it's like
I thought I was missing something.
Doesn't look like she's running.
Well, that's the thing.
It's like
I was
jogging, and she's like 100 meters ahead of everybody else. Felt like it was crazy.
I was like, I really thought I was missing something. I'm like, why is she so far ahead?
And she's just like cruise along. She's just unbelievably fluid runner, and she blew everybody away. That video just blows your mind. You're like, these are world class, hurdlers, and she's just not even trying, and she's killing them.
She's going to be the favorite going in, obviously,
absolutely.
to the next couple of days. Another amazing athlete. I mean, this woman studied neurobiology at Harvard. She has a master's degree in epidemiology, and she dominated the 200-meter. I mean, you're going to hear this name for years to come. Gabby Thomas won her first Olympic gold medal in the women's 200-meter race. She finished in 21.83 seconds. Quite the time. She was flying as well.
Yeah, a lot of power there. Anna Cockrell, we should mention, who is a graduate from Providence Day High School here in Charlotte, still placing second in the 400-meter hurdle semifinal.
Yeah, this is after she raised her hand before the start of that race. The rule says, though, any athlete can raise their hand if they aren't ready or distracted. I think some people missed this earlier today. So Cockrell's still pushing forward. She's now headed to the finals despite everything that happened today. So good for her.
Yeah, I didn't see that one. That's kind of interesting that they could stop, and just raise your hand and say, I need to break, or we need to restart or something.
Yeah, I missed that. I'm not sure that's ever happened before, but it's good that they obviously mandated that rule and came into use.
Yeah, and the big thing is, these heats they have, the qualifying heats, they try to finish in the top 2 or have the best time.
Yeah.
But you don't want to go too hard as well because you want to save it for the final. Right. So I always am fascinated by the strategy in all of the track and field events because you'll see big upsets because of this. Someone will miscalculate and not run really well in the heat and then not make the final and then be out of it. And you're like, what happened? They just didn't try. They didn't calculate what they were going to do in that final.
Yeah.
Noel Lyles even said that in one of his heats, where he almost didn't qualify and he didn't win it, but he said, he had underestimated the other runners in that heat and didn't really push as hard as he should have.
That's going to be a close race as well.
The 200 with him.
That's going to be close. All right, I had to throw this in because this was an amazing thing to see today. The first time an American woman has medaled in the hammer throw. This woman is actually from Cincinnati, Annette Ikachokowoke, winning silver after throwing 75.48 meters. So another medal in the bag for the United States. Great to see her. And like I said, and like you guys have already pointed out, track and field in the United States
they've been doing great.
Yeah, really good. So hopefully that will continue in the 200 meter once we get to those races as well. U.S. women, what can you say about them? The soccer team, they are going for gold and continuing to do so after defeating Germany 1-0.
Yeah, the teams needed extra time to break the tie here.
Yeah, they did. Sophia Smith putting away the only goal in the 95th minute. Tied up until that time. The team set to play Brazil on Saturday. All eyes will be on that game.
That game will be huge because Brazil's looked great in this
Olympics be tough.
so far. So
Two of the best teams in the world.
Oh, by far. And so I think it's going to be really entertaining. And the U.S. has played measured. They haven't really blown anybody out, but they also haven't really looked like they've been threatened that much. They've just been keeping the games close and then finishing it off at the end. So I can't wait for that game. I mean, some of these gold medal games for these team sports coming up are going to be absolutely amazing.
Yeah. I feel like there's like a lot of mental and physical endurance just involved with the games in general because, you know, we've obviously been talking about gymnastics a lot, and I think it was Simone Biles we saw in Suni Lee falling off of those balance beams at the very end, and Simone Biles saying like, I just got tired.
Yeah.
And I feel that, right? Like,
yeah. I mean,
you're already doing your best.
Not only are they sleeping away from home, right? We've talked about for France's athletes having the competitive advantage, sleeping at home, being in their home country as well. So yeah, it's an amazing feat. Not only that, part of these athletes are bringing their families. They have children.
Yeah.
I saw, I think it was Miss Burdick who brought her daughter. And so you got to think about all of those logistical things are going on in the background while you are focusing on one of the toughest competitions in your entire life.
Yeah, I can imagine because it's all packed into this 2 weeks. There's all this pressure. There's all these distractions. There's media. It's just a lot going on. So it's tough. The mental game is as important as the physical part of this.
We'll talk a lot about this next. I did talk at the beginning of the week, if you were watching our stream, about this specific sport. Watching this man, he is amazing. 18 years old, to climb a wall this fast. It was under 5 seconds. I mean, Sam Watson,
Spider-Man,
proving to everyone just how fast he really is.
Yeah, he broke a world record.
This event is amazing. The first time I watched it with my kids, they were like blown away. They're like, they thought they were running on something flat. And I'm like, no, they're climbing the wall.
Yeah. Straight up.
It's crazy.
He did this 400ths faster, of a second faster, I should say, than a record he set back in April. So it's also cool, I gotta say, that when you set a record, you break your own records.
Yeah.
We saw Duplantis do it yesterday. So it is cool that they're breaking their own records. But I mean, less than 5 seconds to get up that wall. And he's 18 years old.
Yeah.
We're going to see him for years
That's one of those sports that when you see it on, you're like, I don't watch rock climbing or whatever. You see it,
dude,
you're like, and
speed climbing
pulls you in because they come out, they hype them up, and the one-on-one battles too, where they're side by side climbing. It's really cool so you can see them, and the camera angles they have are just amazing for these events.
Yeah.
This is when I feel like I would want to try. You know, like there's some sports where you're watching it and you're like, nah.
Yeah.
I don't know. This just looks like fun, whether I'm good at it or not. I would not be good at it.
I'm not. It's hard enough.
I would want to try to do that. Actually.
Yeah.
I'll watch you from the ground.
Okay, you can time me. You can be there with the timer.
There we go.
Man, no way.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
In 45.
I just get to the top and ring the bell or whatever.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So yeah, we've been talking about surfing.
Yes, I
This
watched
is another
this
fun one.
well.
Yeah, this is one that I wouldn't want to try.
No.
But it's fun to watch. Florida surfing prodigy Caroline Marks sweeping up the gold here in the women's surfing finals.
Yeah, obviously a great win for Marks. It's her first Olympic medal. Earlier in the semifinals, she said that it's, quote, beyond her wildest dreams to do this. So it's her second straight gold medal in surfing for the American women. Carissa Moore won it in Tokyo in 2021. So Brazil took home the silver. 6 of 8 of these women represented different nations in the final. So that just goes to tell you, surfing is a global sport.
Absolutely, and the U.S. women are pretty good at it. And they had calmer seas than the men. The men had some delays because of some rough sea. I mean, the waves were too big and too dangerous. They had some calmer conditions, and actually, you didn't see as many broken boards and wipeouts as you did with the men because they just had a storm offshore that was causing issues. Remember, that's all the way in Tahiti, like 10,000 miles away.
Yeah.
Right? It's crazy.
Well, And I mean, I think we might have talked about this before when we were kind of prefacing all of these surfing events, but I feel like I'm just as intrigued about how they shoot these events.
Oh.
Because like all of the angles that they managed to get
I
in
get
the middle of the ocean.
I think that's what's made this Olympics so amazing.
It is
NBC
wild.
has done an incredible job. The one thing always amazing, every event, doesn't matter how big or small, the camera angles and production values are through the roof. And I don't know where they find the experts on all these sports. But
Yeah.
they find somebody who can commentate on
Leonard
everything,
Hamilton.
and they're so knowledgeable and great at their job that they really can inform people that.
There's a
don't know.
camera right there. See,
Yeah.
look.
That's what I was saying.
Exactly. I mean, that's amazing.
That's so wild.
Yeah.
There's somebody's hands on that camera.
Yeah,
Did
and
you see that?
they've got
They're holding it
drones.
like this.
And they've also got like these little like piers out in the middle of the surf zone. They're not connected to land. It's like a standalone pier where they have like the judges and everything, and they have cameras there. They had cameras on the jet skis that go out and rescue the surfers. So it's amazing. And those are live cameras too. They're not just still cameras. They're broadcasting back to the live feed. So it's amazing.
Thanks to Campbell in the back for freezing the video
Yeah,
for
isn't
you
that
at
nuts?
home to see that. But yeah, this was one of the shots we saw from earlier on in the competition of one of the men jumping the wave and holding the number one up, and that's how they were able to capture this type
Unbelievable.
of scene with that type of camera. So yeah, hats off to NBC. It's been one of the games to remember.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we got to talk about, I think, America's mascot now.
Speaking of TV magic. Oh,
Snoop Dogg.
Snoop.
I mean, he's amazing. I mean, I saw this one.
Oh, yes.
I saw this
Dressage.
in real time. Well, it was recorded, but it was in the evening, and then they had a live interview of Martha Stewart and Snoop going to the equestrian events.
Yeah, it was
Perfect.
something.
They're
it was
perfect.
something, that's for sure. It was interesting because it's been fun to listen to them and then Mike Tirico as well because he, for one portion, they were doing the highlights. Mike Tirico had to dance around them. And so I think it's been something that they hit. Obviously, Snoop has other things coming up on NBC in the fall. But yeah, it's cool to see. They've played Gin and Juice way too many times. I got to be honest.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, it's a classic.
But I'll give credit. Snoop is actually really good. He's witty. He's quick. He's actually
light on the
really
feet.
engaging. He's just not, out there because of his celebrity. He actually is adding a lot to these events, and it is entertaining.
He's just being himself, too.
Yeah, I mean, he's really good at this, and so yeah, you mentioned in the fall he's going to be a judge on The Voice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are other things going on as well, but it's such a crazy shift. After 20 years ago, even my parents were like, "You can't buy a Snoop Dogg out," you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now here
That's
he
what
is
I
in
said.
front of the
I
American
think he's
public.
become our national mascot
I know.
or something.
I mean, it's kind of cool to see.
He's our spokesperson now.
Seems like it.
He's
awesome.
like put on every outfit, fencing. Obviously, we saw the dressage.
Him and Martha too. I got to figure
judo.
out. I want to remember how that. We'll go back to history at some point, but man, that
How they
pairing,
partnered up.
Yeah, that pairing.
They're great
just,
together.
It just works.
And they're great. Snoop's not only, he's at all these other events just as a spectator sometimes too, because I'll see him in the stands and he's
Sitting
like,
next to someone's
I don't
family.
think he sleeps, honestly.
yeah, it's nuts. So he's everywhere.
Snoop, get some sleep, please.
He's probably gonna take the rest of summer off before The Voice starts.
Probably. You only got a week.
Well earned, well earned. Well, we have another Olympian to talk about with some earnings of his own. Philippines gymnast Carlos Yulo didn't just win a gold medal, but he also got a fully furnished 2-bedroom condo, cash and ramen and cookies for life.
Yeah, this is all because of a real estate company in his home country, but he made history becoming the first male Olympic gold medalist from the Philippines. That company is called Mega World, and so they have a portfolio of these condos, and they were offering anybody who gets a medal from inside of the Philippines one of these portfolio condos. So, and then they get 10 million Philippine pesos to go along with it, which is about
Ramen and
100,000
cookies
plus.
for life. Is that you had me there?
Oh, you think that?
Pretty
Okay.
tasty. All I will say
take
is
the
someone
condo.
whose mother is from the Philippines. Why couldn't they have picked pancit? Why did they pick ramen? Pancit is
Yeah,
like
that's-
the Filipino,
that is true.
like traditional
It's not really a
noodle.
Filipino noodle.
You're learning right now on the stream some real culture right now.
Yeah.
It's a good point, Vanessa. Should be.
It's just so weird to me.
Call them up.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
I'll call my relatives and just
Anyway,
be like, hey, send a
going on?
message, get a phone call going over there.
I mean, it's a cool thing. We've all talked about how they need to get paid, right? And especially in these other countries that don't have the type of GDP or the wherewithal that United States has. It's cool that they're putting where their money, where their mouth is.
Olympics are over. They're going to go back to their real world jobs, and they're going to be like, What'd you do on your last 2 weeks of
You're not
PTO?
wrong.
I won a gold medal.
Phelps talked about it.
Well,
Yeah.
he was the first, we said this, the first male Olympic gold medalist from the Philippines. I had to look up because I wasn't sure exactly how many medals the Philippines has won, like ever.
Not many,
And I
I
think
bet.
it's like a dozen plus. I think it was somewhere around 14, 15.
Makes
So, I mean, he's in like rare air for the
Yeah.
Philippines.
He's the only
He's a
gold.
big celebrity back.
He's the only gold medalist from the country already
Yeah.
this year. So.
Okay.
Good for him.
Well, speaking of medals, we do want to take a look at the latest medal count. Up at the top, we got Team USA 86.
Yeah.
That includes 24 gold, 31 silver, 31 bronze. China's in second with 58, and then host country France, Great Britain, and Australia rounding out that top 5.
And a quick look at primetime on WCNC Charlotte after some of the things we've got ahead. We're going to start off in the pool. The women take the 10-meter platform to compete for the gold. Then we'll go to the starting line. The men and women race around the track for us. And then after that, end the night with us. Why don't you? Our newscast at 11. We're up in about 10 minutes once we get our stuff together. We'll see you at 7.
Honestly, is our biggest impact. So, what you need to know all day Thursday, probably.